One game left and our long national nightmare will finally be over. What can we expect in the 49ers Week 18 game against the Cardinals? And what can we learn by taking a look back at some of Brock Purdy's biggest mistakes? We'll talk about it on today's Gold Diggers podcast, brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Diggers podcast on the Gold Standard and the Fans First Sports Network. I am Rob Stats Guerrero. She is Michelle Magic. It is Friday. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm sad because I don't want the 49ers season to end, even though there's nothing left to play for.
You don't want the 49ers season to end? I'm so ready for it to end. I have wanted it to end 5 weeks ago.
Now, I like watching my team play football. Like the offseason, I remember what it feels like in the offseason when we're like, oh my God, I wish we could get back to the games.
I love the offseason. I love thinking about what could be.
It's cool, but like I like football. So this is the last time I'm going to get the chance to see my Niners play. CSL in the casino says, yes, Stats and Michelle. Been waiting all week for this. Thank you, CSL. We appreciate that. Diego says, Happy New Year, Stats and Michelle. Diego, I appreciate the sentiment, although I got to tell you, I hate being Happy New Year after January 1st. Like, it's a very specific thing we're talking about. Happy New Year. You get New Year's Eve, you get New Year's Day, and that's it. You're past the window now. I'm like Larry David. I hate being Happy New Year past the day.
Okay, Grandpa. What a weird thing to hang on to. They're being nice. Happy New Year, Diego.
Does anybody walk up to you on July 5th and say, hey, Happy Independence Day? No. They don't. Why?
If it's the first time they saw you, then it's the first time they saw you in the new year, and they're just saying Happy New Year.
No, you missed it. You missed the window. I can't stand it. Anyway, that's just my thing. I still get a text from Mike Florio and Chris Sims and people at NBC on January 2nd, January 3rd that says Happy New Year just because they know it ticks me off. So appreciate that from those guys. I already got one this year. So thanks for that. Couple of things we want to get to on today's show. I want to talk about, obviously, we'll give you our best bets for the game. We crushed it last week with our best bets. Probably, I mean, it has to be the best week we've ever had, quite frankly, because we got them all right. If you're watching on the stream, you could see Jahmyr Gibbs over 92.5. Lions over with the spread. Lions minus 3.5. Brock Purdy at least 295 passing yards. Jauan Jennings over 64.5. And the Lions over 3.5 total touchdowns. We killed it. So
it seemed bold. Remember, it was like bold to take Brock Purdy. I said he would get 300. He got 377, and he didn't even play the full game.
So, yeah, you killed it. Yeah, because I think his actual over-under was like 254, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were like, don't pay. You can get better odds if you take a higher number, and you still crushed it. And there were some that we gave you during the show that we got right that I didn't put on the graphic because we only have so much room on the graphic, and I don't want to give away all the best bets without people having to listen to the show. We crushed it. So, of course, we will do that. But let's start with something that I was just sort of playing around with. I don't know if you have NFL Pro. I think that's what it's called, but it's like the new NFL.com like film archive. You can go and look at plays. It's really, really cool. So I was looking at it and I was like, all right, let me just check something out. I wanted to see about Brock Purdy's interceptions because I had a hunch and I was correct. Brock Purdy does not turn the ball over for the most part on critical downs. 10 of Brock Purdy's 12 interceptions, Michelle, have come on first or second down. And I feel like the thing that I have noticed with him is he tries to make a big play when one is not necessary, when that kind of effort or the degree of difficulty of the throw that he is attempting is not needed. And I feel like that's been borne out with some of the statistics with Brock Purdy. 10 of 12 on first or second down. Are you with me on that train?
I mean, yeah, that's a huge stat right there. That's a good little pull by you. Good job. And I do think that's
so surprised.
I actually think that's a good thing, though. Not good thing that he did that this year. I think that's fixable. Like I do. Like you can teach a guy. I mean, you wish it could have been fixable throughout the year, and he still did it last week. But that's something that Kyle Shanahan should be able to get out of him. Like stop going for the hard plays on first and second down. we've seen these gunslinger guys. Now, I don't know if Brock Purdy's considered like a gunslinger, but they did do that to start their career, and they did learn to start to take the shorter things and not be so risky all the time. But then you also have the guys like Jameis Winston who just never learn, right? So you need to get that out of him. And I do think if he's taught correctly and he's willing to learn, he could stop doing that.
We will hear the exit interview. Brock was very candid last year about what he wanted to work on in the offseason. We'll find out after the game, of course, if he's going to share any of that. I hope so. If you're watching the stream, you can see the graphic. But if you're just listening, some of the other nuggets from Brock's interceptions. 10 of his 12 picks came in the second half. 7 of the 12 came when the team was trailing. And 8 of the 12 came after he held onto the ball for at least 2.5 seconds. So I feel like that paints a picture, Michelle, of a guy ultimately who's trying to make something happen. And the bigger the pressure is in the game or in the down or in the play, the more that comes out, and it can lead him into some trouble.
So I did just quickly look up to see where his 10 interceptions on first or second down ranked. And it's tied for third most in the league behind Kirk Cousins at 12, Jameis Winston at 11. And then he's tied with Anthony Richardson, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, which I was surprised by Jared Goff. And then Patrick Mahomes is at 9, though. I feel like that man gets away with murder just because of his flashy plays he makes. He just gets away with anything because he has been turning the ball over like crazy over the last few years. But yeah, Mahomes is at 9, and then you got Geno Smith and Sam Darnold at 8. But yeah, it's high compared to others.
Brock, please just rein it in just a little. And he, like you said, gunslinger. He is a gunslinger, or at least he has that mentality. He doesn't have the arm that gunslingers have. Like, he's a gunslinger with like a BB gun, but it is a gun. But he has the confidence of a daytime burglar, to quote Sean Salisbury. And so he's willing to let it rip. And I think it gets him into trouble. When everyone loves to bring up this Kyle Shanahan, he's blowing leads in the second half. Well, when your quarterback starts throwing picks, that's what can happen. And so, we're trying to figure out what went wrong and why. And this is a big part of it. It's very difficult to, like you were saying, correct that out of a guy, because you don't want him to lose it completely, but also he needs to rein it in. Like, he's got to protect the ball and protect the team. So it's a tightrope that you have to walk, because you don't want to tell him stop doing that altogether, because sometimes you really do need it. And he can make plays in that situation, but you also need him to not be this bad, particularly in the second half, particularly early in the possessions, and of course, when trailing.
I'm honestly fine with a certain amount of interceptions in any given season. Like, I really think like that 7 to 10 is the sweet spot, right? Maybe even push until like 11, 12. The guys where you're like, oh, he only has 4 interceptions. Like, yeah, maybe if it was like a great season, like Joe Burrow's having right now, like, yeah, you can call that out. But it'll be like, Daniel Jones has like 15 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions, or Russell Wilson this year with his 5 interceptions, or at least it was before last week. It's like, yeah, but if they're being too safe, like, that's also not a good thing, right? You're also not winning games. That's also keeping you from winning or getting ahead. So I'm personally fine with 10 interceptions in a season. It's just they can't always come a back-breaking moment, like in the fourth quarter when you're trying to make like you're only down by 1 touchdown and you throw it. And it should never come on, well, not ever, but the amount of his coming on first and second down when it's just so unnecessary, that has to be taken out of him.
And you mentioned the number. I don't, like, for me, there is no perfect number. I mean, obviously 0, yes, but let's be realistic. But it's okay if you throw a lot of picks, if you also throw a lot of touchdowns. And the example that I love to give is Matt Stafford in 2021, the year the Rams won the Super Bowl. He led the league in interceptions with 17. Oh no, let me clutch my pearls. But he also threw 41 touchdown passes. Like, you can make up for the interceptions if you're throwing lots of touchdowns too. The deadly combination is what we have seen with 49ers quarterbacks in down years, like we saw with Jimmy Garoppolo. Not a lot of touchdowns and a lot of interceptions. That is the combo that kills you. That's how you end up with a 10-loss season like the 49ers are in right now.
It is. And this was the year he was supposed to take the step forward, and he did not. Now, you should expect it to not be as good as the previous year without Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams for a lot of the games. Like, there's reasons why he took a step back, but I feel like it just kept getting worse and worse throughout the season instead of, him like finding control over and learning how to play with these guys. It was just, it felt like, wow, Brock Purdy's really taking control of this team to start the year. You're like, oh, wow, he could be this difference maker even without, his players doing amazing things afterwards. But it just started to regress. I don't know if he was getting in his head or what, but as the year went on, I mean, it was harder and harder to like protect him, as a fan and say like, no, it's not on him. Like, a lot of it was starting to become on him.
Yeah, and it was frustrating to watch because we were all hoping he would take that step. Doesn't mean he can't take a step next year. A lot of quarterbacks have a sophomore slump. So that's, if you want to count the 5 games Brock Purdy started in 2022 as 1 year, then this wouldn't be the sophomore slump. But I kind of put that aside. I look at 2023 as really his first year, and then this year kind of being the sophomore year. So depends how you want to grade him. I do like this question from Modelo Time 1999 on Twitch, who says, would having a better offensive line and having more time to throw increase his mistakes / interceptions? Here's the thing. I don't think the offensive line is as bad as people think from a pass blocking perspective. I think Brock gets himself into trouble a lot of the times. Case in point, the play he got hurt on in the Lions game, Kyle Shanahan said afterwards, like, you're hot. You got to get rid of the ball. But Brock doesn't ever do that, Michelle. He doesn't ever just give up on a play or just throw it quick. He always holds on to the damn ball, and it can lead to some good plays. But like we're talking about, I feel like most of the time it gets him into trouble.
I do think this offensive line is trash, though. We saw it last year. He made the offensive line look better than it was, right? He can do that. There's even times when he doesn't get sacked, right? There's still, the pocket collapses immediately. I mean, it really does. When you're watching these games, it's like, yeah, they might not let a guy sack him, or Brock doesn't let him sack him, but the pocket immediately collapses onto Brock. I feel like not majority, but a lot of the plays where it's just like, and these guys would not be starting on how many lines across the league would these guys be starting on? Jake Brendel, would he be starting in the league if he gets cut by the 49ers?
No.
No.
In fact, I don't know if he'll be starting.
Will Aaron Banks get a job?
Yes, he'll get a job.
So? Backup.
He might be a starter somewhere. It's close.
Spencer Burford, a backup. Like,
yeah,
they're all backups.
The quality of I'm not saying the line can't be better for sure, but I think every time we see Brock under pressure, people are like, oh, the offensive line sucks. And some of that is on him. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it is on him. The unfaithful perspective says it's not just interceptions, it's when they occur. Purdy's stats in the fourth are truly alarming. Even Jimmy Garoppolo could occasionally lead a game-winning drive. Yeah, the Brock Purdy stats in the fourth are not comforting. They don't fill you with the warm and fuzzies. That's definitely something that he has to work on. And I think it's the 49ers' weaknesses that we have seen this year have all snowballed and compounded on one another. They have, if this makes sense, they have complementary weaknesses, if that makes sense, because Brock stresses when they're trailing, and I think he presses and he tries to force things. When they're trailing or when the game is close, Kyle Shanahan's game management looks even worse because he's not good at it. So you've got the combination of those two things. They work together to make a whole bunch of bad for the 49ers, and that's what we've seen this year.
Yep. Purdy's 5 interceptions when trailing in the fourth quarter behind only Kirk Cousins and Jameis Winston, which is hilarious because Winston barely played this year. And it's just so funny that Winston has thrown that many. And then the guys right behind Brock Purdy are Daniel Jones, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Gardner Minshew, Spencer Rattler, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Geno Smith, like all really bad names. So yeah, this is something he needs fixed.
Please, Brock. I think he can fix it. I have confidence in him to fix it, but he needs to, because again, you don't have, and you're not going to have in the future, the super ultra mega all-star talented team around you all the time. And so if that's the case, then it's on you to be better. Willie Rodriguez, I want to address this. I'm tired of Jimmy G 2.0. Can we try Tanner Mordecai? A quarterback that can't throw in inclement weather is never going to be a good quarterback and definitely not a franchise QB. 30 years and counting, 0 rings. I don't know where this obsession with Tanner Mordecai is coming. Like I think that people just think because they found Brock Purdy that every like third string practice squad quarterback is going to be good. And it's no, like, sorry, I don't need to see Tanner Mordecai play ever. Like he's not like the hidden Superman or the next great 49ers quarterback. I don't know why people are on Tanner Mordecai, but I'm seeing that like a lot.
I'm just wondering, like, I'm trying to think of a quarterback outside of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes that they played the entire year without a wide receiver one, even close to one, right? Deebo's not a good wide receiver. Jauan Jennings would be a wide receiver 3 at best on most teams. Who's good out there without a wide receiver one outside of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes?
I think Joe Burrow would still be good.
Okay, but we don't know. I'm asking who has been good without, because Joe Burrow's numbers even go down without having T. Higgins. Like, and he still has Jamar Chase. Now they're still good, but they do go down. I mean, he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, both true, real, great wide receiver ones in the league. Yeah. So, like, name a guy that has had a good season anytime recently without having a true wide receiver one that is not Josh Allen or Joe Burrow.
Clearly,
I meant Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
Right. I mean, not having a wide receiver one obviously sucks, and it hurts any quarterback. And even Mahomes' numbers, like Mahomes has 26.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're winning game. This isn't to bash Patrick Mahomes.
And also, I mean, I guess I was going to say Kelsey, but then I guess Purdy does have Kittle.
This isn't to bash Patrick Mahomes. The point is, when you put stars around Patrick Mahomes, he threw 50 touchdowns in a season. When his talent was less, he threw less touchdowns. That's all.
Way
that's
less,
all we're saying.
like half. Yeah.
That's all we're saying. We're not trying to compare Brock and Mahomes. The point is,
but that's kind of the same thing, though. Like, Brock's ceiling was never Mahomes' ceiling, so they kind of went down the equal percentage amount after not having their top guys.
Get good players and put as many together as possible is the lesson. And then people, we fans, media, knock quarterbacks.
I'm sorry, but going in, if there wasn't that huge 175 3-touchdown game, which he was a beast, right? Like, without that, I feel like we would be a little bit more down on Jauan Jennings. He's been fine. He's been good. That game was beastly. I'm not going to lie. Like, he came out of nowhere and was a beast. But if we went into this season saying Brock Purdy's wide receiver one this year, it's going to be Jauan Jennings, we would be like, oh, shoot.
Yes. The receiver that's going to play the best on the 49ers this year is going to be Jauan Jennings. And it's not close, by the way. It is Jauan. Yeah. We would have been like, oh, boy, things have gone awry. But that has been the case this year. And actually, Jauan Jennings is going to feature a lot in the best bets section of the show because he's approaching 1,000 yards. And the Niners have made no secret of the fact that they want to get him that 1,000 yards this week on Sunday. So that'll be a fun thing. One more thing I wanted to get to, and this is just me. I listen to the press conferences every day. And Nick Sorensen got asked about the communication issues that the 49ers have on defense because they've had multiple this season. 49ers veterans have openly spoken about it. So they asked Sorensen, like, hey, your vets, your guys are talking about the communication issues that you have on defense. How do you fix that? And here was his answer.
It's frustrating. And then that's why those veteran guys say that, we're all frustrated with it and it shows up and sometimes it's different people, but it's, immediately they know that it shouldn't have done that. So a lot of it is, the continue to push is the pre-snap communication is everything, because most guys, if he's off the ball, he's probably going to move. So there's got to be, we just have to keep being better at it, and it's, you can't do it after the play. It's got to happen before. And then when it happens, someone starts moving during the play, then you've already expected it. You've already pre-thought it. It's just something we got to keep getting better at. And it's kind of shown up in critical parts of critical games.
Yeah, it has shown up in critical parts of critical games again and again and again. And when someone asks you how to fix it, you don't say, yeah, we got to fix it. Like, that's not an answer.
He said nothing. I mean, he just babbled on. I don't think he did not answer the question at all. I learned nothing from his response. So pointless.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. The more I listen to him talk, though, Michelle, and tell me if this makes sense, I just think he's a guy. He's just like an average coach. Nick Sorensen is a basic bitch defensive coordinator. Like, that's what he is.
He's
Am I
looking
wrong?
a little rough too. No, I don't know. I don't think Nick Sorensen is the defensive coordinator of this team next year. I don't think he should be either. And like, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces with this team. It's not like you're going to have all the same players either. So this is kind of the time to change the system. It's okay. We got to get back to old 49ers. That shouldn't even be something they say next year, because you're going to have so many new faces. You should be changing up the system. Like, I don't even know who I want to be the defensive coordinator, but it's not Nick Sorensen and it's not Brandon Staley. So don't even think about that, 49ers.
B Mills 1987 says MVP Michelle, the GOAT of fantasy football advice. So you've got your fans. But I agree with you. None of that. There should be none of that next year of run it back, get back to 49er football. You're not getting back to anything. You are building something new. That needs to be the mentality. This is a new era. We are not getting back. We are getting to. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Look in the windshield. That has to be that stupid boombox before the games. Punt that thing into the sun. Seriously. Forever. It has to be new. It's a new era, because this attitude of we're still good, we're going to try to run it back. You're not. You're not anymore. And the 10 losses, maybe 11 losses by the time Sunday's game gets played are proof of that.
If they don't get rid of that boombox, I swear to God. Well, that should end with Deebo, right? Deebo's not going to be on this team. And like, Deebo's the one that carries it out, right?
I don't know if he carries it up, but
he's like a big part of it. I don't know.
Well, they used to have one of the like coaches or something would carry it out, but Deebo and Trent would be like leading the way. I'm all set with that forever. Punt it into the sun. All right, let's get to some best bets for the game, Michelle. Niners are getting 5.5 points now. So this has gone up since the last time I checked it. It was at 4.5. Now it is at 5.5. I don't really know what to expect. I think I might take the Niners just because I'm the one getting the points. Because like I've seen Kyler Murray just completely pack it in when there's nothing to play for. Hell, I've seen Kyler Murray pack it in during a playoff game. So he may just totally not be into it. So who knows what you're going to get. But I think I would take the Niners just because they're getting almost a touchdown. I
think it'll be huge, too, that they don't have James Conner there. James Conner was a huge part of the Cardinals winning the last game. So, yeah, I'm rooting for the 49ers to lose, though. I'll say that right now. Because they're going to drop 3 draft picks if they win this game. And the Cardinals and, Arizona, I guess, would win. But then they'd be tied. Dallas. So right now, Dallas, Indy, and the Cardinals are all 7-9. And the 49ers are 6-10, right? So if they're tied with all those 3 teams, they actually will be the worst spot out of all of them, because they've had the hardest strength of schedule this year. If you have the hardest strength of schedule, that means like you're the better team somehow, because you played the harder matchups to get the same record. So they would be at the bottom of this list. They would then move from 11th pick to 14th, right? I do care about this now. There's no reason for the 49ers to win whatsoever. Brock Purdy's not playing. It doesn't matter if Josh Dobbs looks bad. I wouldn't want Brock Purdy to look bad, because that's not great for next year. But there's nothing I care about in this game. I want them to lose. I won't be upset if they lose, but I don't want them to lose. I'm still rooting for them to play well. I think that's a massive drop. Think about the good players, like the elite players die off fast. 11th to 14th is a massive drop off. That's an area that matters a ton. I don't want that drop off. I get all that. I've seen the 49ers blow picks before. So I just, the idea that, they're definitely going to get a good player at 11. But I didn't say definitely, but the probability increases. Yeah, I don't care. Honestly, I would rather see what's the point of winning this game? Give me 1 point of them winning this game. Because I feel good when the team wins. I do. Like, I feel good and better and happy when the team wins as opposed to the team losing. By the way, if you want to bet on this game, please do it with BetUS. You can receive 150% on your first deposit and 125% on your second and third deposit up to $2,000. Use our code YouTube150. I get everything you're saying, Michelle, and it all makes sense. I still don't want to see him lose. It's illogical. I get it. It's an emotional decision by me. I completely understand what you're saying. You're smart. I'm dumb. You're good looking. I'm not attractive. All that stuff. By the way, thank you very much, CSL in the casino, for an incredible super chat.
says, thank you, Stats and Michelle, for informing and entertaining us throughout this dreadful season. I respect Stats for diving into the gold standard. Michelle, please commit now to being here next season for at least 2 shows a week. Also, Happy New Year. See, I knew I shouldn't have said anything. Now I'm going to get a Happy New Year from now until the end of time.
Happy New Year. This just made my day. Thank you very, very much. Very happy that you enjoy watching our show. I would love to be here more times a week. My weeks are pretty crazy. We will be doing our Bleacher Report show every Monday and Wednesday. So if you want more of Stats tonight, you will get us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from now on, starting what, next week?
Yes, starting Monday. This coming Monday, we'll be doing 2 shows a week for Bleacher Report. I can't remember. Oh, was it 9:00 Eastern? I think was the time that we have to do the show. So 6 p.m. Pacific time. Michelle and I on the Bleacher Report app. You got to get on the Bleacher Report app if you want to get those shows. But there will be more Stats and Michelle. So CSL, I hope that brightened your day a little bit. And thank you again for the super chat. That's tremendous. We really do appreciate that. All right. Let's get into some best bets, Michelle. There's not a ton up there right now because there's a lot of uncertainty because of the 49ers practice report, which is insane. Nick Bosa, Deebo, Kittle, Lenore, all not practicing. Obviously, we know Brock Purdy, Spencer Burford's not practicing, Leonard Floyd's not practicing. There's a ton of people that haven't practiced, so Vegas doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, and they have like nothing up, so I don't really know where we want to go from here. Like they have Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, and Trey McBride. Those are the only options.
Well, there were a couple things that I saw that I liked. And I can start with the touchdown bets. One is Ricky Pearsall is plus 229 to score a touchdown. I bet against Ricky Pearsall a couple weeks ago. That's it. I'm off now. I'm on the Pearsall train. Like they seem to be featuring him. Plus, we don't know if Deebo's even going to play. Who knows? I loved what they did with Pearsall last week. I love the way they drew up plays for him. They did one play, Michelle, where they faked it a toss to Deebo out of the backfield. And Ricky Pearsall was so open. There was nobody within 20 yards of him. Like they seem to be focusing on 14. I love it. So I'll take Pearsall to score a touchdown. He's plus 229. They targeted him immediately in the red zone on the first drive last week. I think that's going to continue. I hope that's going to continue. And I like that number. Plus 229 is a good number.
That's a really good number. I think I'm just a little scared because Josh Dobbs, we don't know if he's going to have that connection with Ricky Pearsall, but I will say I the easiest one of the bunch, and it's plus 325, is a Josh Dobbs touchdown. A rush,
yes.
Like it has to be rushing or receiving, but I mean, how easy is that one? He played for 0.5 seconds last week, already got a rushing touchdown. Last year, he scored a rushing touchdown in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his 12 starts or 13 starts. I don't remember how many he had. But like this dude, if they're around the goal line without any of their running back, I mean, I guess Guerendo is still there, but Josh Dobbs also doesn't even have to be around the goal line. He could take it for 40-yard touchdown. That is my favorite bet of the week pretty easily.
Yep. That was the second one I had on my list. Like you said, he played for 2 seconds and got one. And it's not like Kyle Shanahan has to dial up, a quarterback keeper. He will just take off on any play. And he's a big friggin' dude. Like you don't realize how big he is just as a guy. He can take a hit and keep going forward. I think that he's going to find a way into the end zone. Hell, Kyle may have the perfect play dialed up and he may take off and run anyway. So at plus 325, and if you don't know, that's bet $100, you win $325. I'm really kind of stunned that the number is that high. Have they not seen Josh Dobbs play?
I was really I mean, I just saw this right now. I was shocked that that's his number. If you want to bet for 2 rushing touchdowns, plus 2,600.
Wow. I might have to do that.
Just like, $5 or something.
Yeah. I mean, geez, plus 2,600. And only because, like we've said, like he will just take it himself. Kyle Shanahan would never call 2 plays for Josh Dobbs to run the ball that frequently, but Dobbs may do it on his own. Do you think that Kyle will dial up like, an option play or something because Dobbs is in there and he is that mobile?
He should be. I mean, if Shanahan wants to be considered a great offensive play caller, then yes, he should be dialing up plays that fit the best skill set of his quarterback.
I agree. I would like to see it. He did it when Trey Lance was the starter. We saw it multiple times, so it's not like he's never done it. Would he do it for this? We'll have to wait and see. The third best bet that I liked is not really a bet because the number is not out, but we talked about it before. Jauan Jennings needs 77 yards to reach 1,000 on the season. He clearly wants it. Kyle Shanahan was asked about it, and he basically said, yeah, we're going to try. Josh Dobbs was asked about it. He was like, yeah, we're going to try. And Jauan Jennings has been talking to me about it. So clearly it's on Jennings' mind. And the other part of this too, Michelle, is when George Kittle was going after the single season receiving record for a tight end, they featured the hell out of him. They were pumping the ball to him to get the record, and they did. So this is something the Niners are aware of. They've admitted it, and they've done it in the past. I don't know what Jauan Jennings' receiving yardage number is going to be because it's not out yet, but whatever it is, I'm taking the over.
Yeah, if he's like this determined to get it. And right now, I mean, these players are playing for themselves, right? There's nothing else to play for. They're playing for their numbers. They're playing, and really the coaching staff should be wanting to get these guys their numbers, right? The morale is probably already really low due to the record. Get these guys at least happy and get them their numbers they want to hit. So Jauan Jennings, I like that too. We'll see what it is. It'll probably, you would think, be around 65. That's what it was last week, 63-ish.
I would take the over. I think he's going to go for 100. He's probably going to get 12, 13, especially like if it gets towards the end of the game and he doesn't have it, then they're just going to they'll give it to him on screens. They'll get whatever. I would take the over on receptions too, actually. I think I might combine those. In terms of the numbers that are there, I'm just looking. Kyler Murray's rush total is 30.5. They burned the 49ers on a couple designed runs for Kyler Murray. I still have haunting nightmares of him throwing the hand in the air like 2 seconds after he rounded the corner against the Niners earlier this year. I think I'd take the over on the Kyler rush yards too.
Take the over on the rush yards for sure. The 49ers rush defense stinks. I was going to give you a rush one too, but it's DJ Dallas to score a touchdown. Michael Carter is going to get the start, it seems like, for the Cardinals, but he's a small dude. If they get around the goal line, I think they're going to put in DJ Dallas, a much bigger guy. And it's like the 49ers just can't stop a running back near the goal line. They literally cannot do it. The only one they stopped was that Jameer Jefferson dude from the Lions last week. If they put in, I almost called him Bucky Irving. If they put him Jahmyr Gibbs in that spot last week, he would have scored with ease. And I know DJ Dallas is not nearly the talent of Gibbs, but I think DJ Dallas gets one, and his odds are even. You make more money off of him than Michael Carter scoring a touchdown. So you get plus 270 if he scores a rushing touchdown.
I'm on board for that. Everything you said sounds good. And like we've talked about continually, yeah, the Niners suck. The money you win is still green. So feel free to cash in on the 49ers. At least their misery and their ineptitude can win you money. That's at least a plus side out of it. You could try to, use it to your advantage a little bit. We certainly have this year.
I'm going back to that number that the 49ers are getting. They're getting 5.5 points.
Yep.
They think just because I don't.
Oh, now it's down to 4.5.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy. So what was that, like 10 minutes ago? We just said 5.5, and now it's down to 4.5. See? People were like, wait a minute, 5.5. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, the Cardinals are not good enough to that's a big line.
I think that was a mistake that was quickly rectified, but Vegas doesn't make mistakes, and they don't make mistakes for long. And I think I still like them at 4.5, to be honest with you.
I don't know. And I also don't want to root for it, so I'm staying away. I'm rooting for the Cardinals in this game. I won't even I'll have to watch the game because we have to do the recap. That's the only reason it will be on my TV, because I do not care about this game. I don't want the 49ers to win, and I don't want to have to root for them to lose. So ugh.
One thing I wanted to ask you, sorry, I should have asked this when we were talking about Josh Dobbs. He was asked yesterday, do you want to come back? Because he's a free agent along with Brandon Allen. And Dobbs, his response was, well, I'll worry about that when the time comes, essentially. Do you want him back next year? Because I do think they're going to stick with Brock Purdy. I think backup quarterback has to be a consideration given Brock's injury history. I wouldn't mind Dobbs as the backup next year.
Well, I don't know why he'd come back. I mean, I guess they're finally giving him the chance now, but earlier in the year, they went with Brandon Allen over him. That would have annoyed me. He probably wants to be a number 2, and they did not do that for him this year. And then also he couldn't even win the backup job against Brandon Allen. I don't know. You probably can find a better one. Let's see what he does in this game, and maybe I'll change my mind.
Yeah, I don't know why they were in love with Brandon Allen, but he's a free agent too. Although he'll probably be back, because who the hell wants him? The Niners seem to be the only one that want him. So
Kirk Cousins will be the backup.
Don't rule it out. That is a definite.
Backup that turns into the starter.
If you could bet on Kirk Cousins being a Niner next year, I would love to see the number on that, because I think I absolutely would take it. And just because we all know Kyle and the first love and all that stuff. Anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast wherever you get your audio podcast. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We're live every single weekday after every Niners game, and of course, after all Niners breaking news. Michelle, thank you so much for joining me today, as you always do on Friday. Thank you to BetUS once again for sponsoring this video. If you want to sign up for BetUS, use promo code YouTube150. Levin is going to be with us for the final instant reaction show of the year. Very excited about that. And again, if you missed our announcement earlier, Michelle and I will be doing 2 shows a week. In addition to this show, we'll be doing 2 shows a week on Bleacher Report, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday and Wednesday. You got to get on the Bleacher Report app, but we will be together, Michelle. Are you ready to be sick of me?
Oh, I'm ready to be sick of these 49ers. Listen, I just need the season to be over so we can start talking about them getting better. That's what I need. I need to stop talking about them stinking and how they can improve and, have some hope for next year.
We're all here for that. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend. Oh, wait, Michelle, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm having a little fire tonight with some friends, going over to a friend's house, having a fire. And then tomorrow we got a huge Steelers game. So.
Yeah, that's right. How you think your boys are going to pull it? They're playing Cincinnati, right?
Yep. No, I think they're going to lose. They're going to lose the 5 seed. Instead of playing the Texans, they're going to have to play the Ravens in the first round, and they're going to get killed. That's what I think.
Michelle is just a font of positivity on the program today. All right, everybody, enjoy your Friday. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.